Last week I beat Dark Souls 3 for the first time and oh my god, the boss fights! So, today I'm gonna do a tier list of all the bosses in Dark Souls 3 based on my own experience. So you go and see, uh-oh, and you go, oh, can I use this sword? And you pull. And he gets up and the health bar appears.
Oh, hell no! That's hell!
I'd say that this is a cool and also a good tutorial boss that prepares player for the basic comeback. You can also parry his attacks instead of dodging, which I never did. So the face changing is so unexpected, I'm pretty sure that all the new players got freaked out by seeing it. I also think that the second phase breaks the well balanced nature of the boss fight, as his big ass venom arm makes it harder to see what's going on with his weapon. But overall I don't think that it's that much of a big deal, so I'm putting this in A tier. You enter this big room and by that time you probably have one or none Estus flask. You think, where's the freaking bonfire? And a huge fat armored dog with a giant mace spawns out of nowhere. This fight is a joke. Basically in the first phase you don't even have to dodge or anything. All you gotta do is stay under this thing and hit the belly. It's that simple. Trust me, you won't get hit at all. Because this thing has zero flexibility. During the phase change, this guy does a frostbite attack and it's just 3 more hits for the player. So it becomes a bit aggressive as he realizes that he is losing the fight. But even those attacks are also pretty easy to dodge. Overall, I think this is a C tier fight. This fight shows the low connection between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 because this thing is trying to give birth to something and there was a boss in Dark Souls 1 called Bed of Chaos. So you get it. However, both bosses are completely annoying and disgusting. In this, you have to deal with bunch of enemies while struggling to pop some STD nodules or something on an enemy that is bigger than your screen and often try to sit on you. I hate when the bosses are bigger than my screen. Like, what do you think? Am I supposed to play using a multimedia projector? I don't even like to talk about this furthermore, so let's just put this in F and move on. This fight is basically a witch spamming spells at you by appearing in different places in the boss arena. And she summons clones that looks exactly like her, and those clones does the same thing. What sucks about this fight is one casts purple spells and all the other cast blue spells. So it's obvious that real one casts the purple spells. When talking about the design of this boss, this basically looks like a pile of old cloth. There's nothing more than that to say about this fight, so I'm putting this in D. A fast sword guy is charging at you at the very beginning, and few minutes later another one appears and you think, I am cooked, and another one appears. Uh-oh, but wait, he started to fight with others. Honestly, I really don't like the first phase, but it's just because I have to concentrate on equally fast multiple enemies, but that's just a personal thing. I really like the moveset and the aesthetic of the enemies and the background story that's going on at the same time. I mean the fight between the Abyss Watchers. So, second phase, one guy gets all the powers of the dead and come up with a more aggressive, different moveset with a big ass fire sword. I like this phase a lot because the attacks are so satisfying to dodge. And it feels like a 1v1 with an extremely fast yet fair enemy. I think Abyss Watchers is a solid 80 boss fight. You touch this skull-like cup and get teleported to utter darkness. All you can see is this one random item. So you go to grab it and get jump scared by this giant skeleton. Actually, this fight sucks because all you have to do is break the bracelets on his hands, which are used to do all his moves. So you have to hit a couple of times and just run around and wait until he lands his arms on the ground to go for a hit. And he does some kind of poison breath attack, and if you walk into it, you just instantly die. Actually, this is not even a hard fight, but This is very frustrating as you have to just run around for the hand and he constantly reposition them. Overall, I think this is a F tier fight and I'm gonna put this above the 3 thing because you can end this bullshit without taking that much time. This fight is like trying to steal some kind of a power from a bunch of enemies. They keep passing this among them and you have to kill the one that currently holds the power to make permanent damage. The one who holds the power illuminates and you just have to kind of squeeze through the crowd and kill him. I think if you are using a big heavy weapon like a great sword or something, this won't even feel like a boss fight. In the second phase, one guy holds the power and others cast a curse spell. This spell builds up in the whole area and if you just don't get fast enough to end this fight, the curse will build up and you will instantly die. The only special thing about this fight is the slight change in the background due to the curse build up, so I'm putting this in D because this fight isn't as embarrassing as the previous two. This fight really disappointed me because when I entered the boss room I was like, holy shit, that's him, and I hit him several times and realized, wait, this is impossible. So I thought there's probably a gimmick that make the fight possible. I found the storm ruler near his throne and I used it. Instead of just making the impossible possible, this thing just completely destroys the boss. This is the boss that they glorified in the trailer and they even made him one of the coolest looking bosses. The problem is this weapon lays itself inside the boss room without making it available in a different place. And if you use this, he just dies in like 4 hits. I'm putting this right above Deacons because at least this fight looks cool and you feel like a badass character. This is the most forgettable boss in the game. His design is very generic and looks like some kind of a copy paste from several bosses and mini bosses. Probably this guy has the most annoying attacks and the character model even restricts some moves of the player. In the second phase, he does a meteorite shower and all you have to do is stay far away until it finishes. I really hate that move because it's not even challenging or something, it's just time consuming and that makes the player to run around wait for the perfect time to engage with the boss again. I'm putting this in D between Yhorm and Deacons. By out appearance, this looks like a hard fight, but it's not. There's no need to study the moveset because the only move that is bit tricky is the arrow attack because it tracks no matter where you go. Except that he casts some spells that are pretty easy to avoid. I don't really like the design and the boss room because for some reason it feels like dealing with some kind of old spider webs full of dust. So I'm putting this right below Vordt. Dancer is a cool looking boss and the fight is also decent and enjoyable. Actually this is an easy fight but it can turn out to be one of the hardest because once you messed up, you messed up. Her attacks felt so satisfying to dodge but I wish she had few more moves. Overall I think this is a B tier fight. You go through the fog wall and see a huge weird looking butterfly flying away and you wonder, how am I supposed to fight this? And an 8-foot tall knight that almost looks like Ornstein with a big ass axe and a shield charges at you. This is a really cool and a tough fight, but what's frustrating though, the boss himself is not the main thing that makes this fight hard. It is the boss arena. You have to fight this extremely aggressive enemy with a huge range on this tiny bridge. And for some reason, they put a statue in the middle of the bridge. So you think that's messed up. The edge of the bridge easily breaks from this guy's attacks. And if you are not careful enough, you will fall off from the bridge. In the second phase, the butterfly cooperates with him in the fight and starts throwing some weird shit at you. I think this is total bullshit because paying attention to those things are impossible while engaging in close combat with this guy. I'm putting this right above Dancer for the only reason that Dancer is too easy and lacks content. This guy is a grandpa dragon. In the meantime of the fight, he is calling and looking for his baby. I think the baby is invisible though. The crying of the baby and he is calling for him and the background music all mixed together sounds very cool.
Come out.
Other than that, there's nothing much to say about this fight. He's just swinging his stuff. In the second phase, he just switched to 4x mode and charges at you. I think this is one of the easy fights in the game, because if you stay really close to him, you can probably avoid 80% of his attacks. So I'm putting this right below Aldritch. You meet this guy in the same place where you fought Ludex Gundyr, but it seems like a different dimension or something. This guy is basically Ludex Gundyr with few extra moves, and the good thing, this guy doesn't have that venom form. So apart from Ludex moves, this guy sweeps you into sky with his elbird and kicks you. I'm putting this guy right above Ludex Gundyr. These guys are literally waiting for someone who is destined to link the flame. This is one of the best fights in the game. First, you have to fight Elder Prince Lorian. So he got a fire sword with a massive range and he gets teleported to random places and hit you in the very few seconds after teleporting. First phase let the player to learn the moveset of this guy and adapt to the teleporting thing that he does all the time. After defeating Lorian, Lothric gets on his back and casts spells at you. What interesting though, you can only damage Lothric if you hit him from the back, as Lothric is hanging in the back of Lorian. And also you have to kill Lothric no matter what, as he can heal Lorian and revive him if you kill Lorian. I think this is a S tier fight. When you enter the boss room, you see a guy standing with no emotion waiting for you, and when you get close, he lights up his two swords with fire and some kind of magic. This looks so cool without even being a cutscene. This is a fight that is extremely fast, enjoyable, and also tests how you improved your dodging timing so far. If you've been panic trolling during boss fights, this is a fight that teaches you the right way to play the game. What I really like about these kind of fights is I can lock into the target and perfectly react to his moves without even bothering about running around the boss room to avoid some kind of AoE projectile sorcery bullshit. In the second phase, this gets even better as he summons a clone of himself. What is interesting about this is the clone does the exact move that the real one is going to do before like 1.5 seconds. So you always know what happens with the real Pontiff before he does anything. But this doesn't make the fight easier as both deal damage. I think Pontiff is a high A tier, low S tier boss. So this dragon jump into your way from nowhere and you have two options, fight or run. I don't think someone would fight this thing unless you have something wrong with you, as this thing has an absurd amount of health, so you can spend like 30 minutes by just hitting this thing. The way it's supposed to be done is you have to run past this thing and run in a route that is filled with bunch of annoying enemies, and once you reach a certain spot, the game says weakness head. So he dies in one hit. Yeah, that's it. I don't have any problem with this concept, but the way they made this is not fun but frustrating. So I'm putting this below Deacons. I think this is the best and the hardest boss in the base game. In the first phase, he is just flying around on his dragon, swinging his spear, which is one of the coolest looking weapons in the game, and the dragon blows fire at you. This is a very cool looking fight, but the real boss in this phase is the camera angle. You at least get around 5 attempts to adopt the first phase. When you get used to it, you can just kill the dragon without even getting hit. In the second phase, he gets off the dragon and challenges to a 1v1. This is a fight that doesn't look hard, but it is very challenging as the moves are hard to predict and extremely fast. Your attack and dodge timing should be so accurate, as this is like a reaction time test. Overall, I think this is a S tier fight, but I prefer the Twin Prince fight. This fight is just an NPC with a big wolf. So the NPC has a shield and a dagger and a wand that can cast the most basic spell that you can imagine. So the wolf got a bunch of annoying moves that doesn't make any sense. The only good thing about this fight is nothing. So I'm throwing this straight into very bottom of the F. Hands down, this is the hardest fight in the game, an absolute marathon with 3 phases. The first phase is just a warm up by letting the player learn the basic moves, and it's also pretty easy as she gets staggered very easily. In the second phase, her father joins the fight by spraying fire, charging all over the area, smashing the ball-like thing on the ground. Both are very aggressive and have completely different styles, so it feels like your brain is separated into 2 halves by trying to react those completely 2 different things. So after defeating both, FromSoft throws a prank at you. You get a reward and few seconds later she gets up. This time she is more aggressive than ever before and uses black flame magic with some kind of new moves. The thing that makes this fight so much harder is they trained you in the second phase to a different pattern, and in the third phase they expect you to fight this final form which has completely different style. This goes straight into top of the S tier. This is the most fair and enjoyable duo fight I've seen. In the first time, this looks like one of the bullshit fights, but it's not. Every time one dragon is aggressive and charges at you while other one is just chilling and blowing poison. So after killing both of these, the last one you killed resurrects and start phase 2. Based on the one you killed last, the moveset in the second phase differs from either a laser moveset or a meteor moveset. The easiest way to do this is just staying close and keeping up the pressure, as if you give him distance away from you, he starts those range attacks. I think this is a high B tier, low A tier fight. When you walk into the boss room, a big guy is giving a boring ass speech. So you kill him. An NPC appears. You have to kill him as soon as possible because few minutes later the boss comes into the play and you don't want to run into a 1v2 situation. So this guy has a moon veil and a bunch of spells and a bow. Even in this fight there's nothing much to say, as this is also a fight that looks like you are in a PvE situation. Remember you killed a guy before, as you don't wanna be in a 1v2 situation. Now you have to face it anyways. So the worst part is this one also can heal the boss. So another F here just above Wolf Guy, as this has bit more content.
What? Still here? Hand it over, that thing, your dark soul.
Oh my god! Okay, let's just put right over here. So as you can see, this is the best boss fight in the entire game. Everything about this is damn perfect and I can't even think about any negative thing to say about this. This guy is so aggressive and gets more and more aggressive with getting his health bar lower. Boom! He pulls a crossbow, jump into there, firing balls, does some kind of magic shit, lightning in the background, going crazy with the sword, attacking with the cape of the armor. So why not in the top of this tier? This is the best dragon fight I've ever seen. This fight is so hard as this thing has shit ton of health and deals a ridiculous amount of damage. Just look at this. The music, the boss arena and the design of the boss make the fight so much cooler. So another S tier boss. I don't know what kind of build this guy is on. First he got a regular sword and transformed into a curved sword and into a great sword. This guy kick, poison breath, blast fire, magic, lightning spear, magic beam, grab, backflip, fire spear with a whole bunch of other moves. I think this guy is easy for anybody at this point because you fought the hardest bosses before him. And the best part is I was so close to kill him in my first try and Pling Plong killed me. Overall, this is a A just below Abyss Soldiers. So guys, this is how the final result looks like. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section and leave a like, subscribe, and see you guys in the next one.